Ritsuka looked at the summoning altar in front of him, doing his usual monthly summoning. Alright, let's see what I'm going to get today. Hopefully a good servant. He thought as he placed some of the saint quartz he saved up on top of the altar. As he did, he then stepped back to let the summoning altar do its magic, hoping to get a servant from the ritual. However, instead of a servant, all he ever got was craft essences, black keys, mapo tofu, and a bunch of random stuff. Damn it, nothing good came of this. Well, if that's the case, then I'll have to go big and place all of my saint quartz in, he thought as he placed all of his saint quartz onto the summoning altar. And just like before, all his saint quartz were gone, and in its place were more craft essences, black keys, mapo tofu, and other stuff. Upon seeing all of his saint quartz gone and without getting a single servant, Ritsuka slumped down onto the ground, kneeling in despair. Damn it, just how? How is it that even I used up all of my saint quartz, I still didn't even get a single servant? All I keep getting are mapo tofu, black keys, and a bunch of stuff that I don't need. Just why? What is wrong with the summoning system today? I can tolerate the first few rolls, but this is bullshit. Soon, Ritsuka fell sideways onto the ground. Does my luck hate me today or what? Please, just give me a servant. He muttered in despair. Just as Ritsuka muttered those words, the altar began to light up, making Ritsuka look up at what was going to happen. The light from the altar immediately made Ritsuka cover his eyes for a moment. In a moment, blue orbs appeared and started to connect with each other. They then turned into a rite of blue sparks and swirled around with each other, forming a ring that then split into three and continued to swirl around. As the light faded, it revealed a gold card showing two people wearing jester costumes. One person was upside down. Yes. Finally, a servant. And it's an alter ego class servant. But who though? There are not that many alter ego class servants. The card then disappeared, revealing a young woman with shoulder-length red hair tied in a side ponytail on the left side with a usually yellow hairband and a cowlet, light orange eyes, and was wearing a Chaldea uniform, the same one Ritsuka was wearing. A Chaldea uniform? How is she wearing one? Who is she? I'm not so sure how to say this, like how any servant would say it. Forget it. Servant, alter ego. My name is Fujiwara Ritsuka, and I ask of you, are you my master? She asked. For a moment, Ritsuka was in complete silence, before asking his supposed female counterpart one simple question. You're Fujiwara Ritsuka? Yeah. That's my name. Why? Ritsuka took a deep breath, before giving his supposed female counterpart the news. That's my name as well. Upon hearing the news, Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart was silent before freaking out. Your name is Fujiwara Ritsuka as well? Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart yelled. Ritsuka had to cover his ears as his supposed female counterpart yelled at him, why yeah? But how though? Wait, does this mean you're my male counterpart? I guess so. Again, how though? You don't even have the same hair color as me. And you're not even an adult yet. Did you dye your hair by any chance? No. In fact, I should ask you the same question. Did you dye your hair? No. My hair color was already like this since I was born. At that moment, Ritsuka was even more confused with his supposed female counterpart's words. What the heck? From what I know right now, she's my female counterpart from an alternate timeline. But how though? I'm pretty sure that both of my parents didn't have any orange hair in their families, so how though? Ritsuka thought as he looked at his supposed female counterpart. So, this is my supposed male counterpart in this world. But why is his hair black? I expected to see him with orange hair. Maybe this timeline is more different than I thought. Senpai, are you okay? And who's that person over there? Is that a new servant? A voice said. Upon hearing the voice, Ritsuka and his supposed female counterpart looked towards the entrance of the summoning room. As they did, they saw Mashu, who was standing there. While Ritsuka looked at Mashu normally, his supposed female counterpart was a different story. Oh, hey there Dash. Mashu. Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart yelled in happiness as she jumped off from the summoning altar and lunged towards Mashu, giving her a surprise hug. I missed you so much. W who are you? Mashu asked in surprise, but was ignored by her attacker. Senpai. Who is this servant? She asked nervously. Ritsuka let out a small sigh. Mashu, this is my supposed female counterpart from another universe. Mashu's mouth dropped upon hearing Ritsuka's words. This servant is your female counterpart from another universe? Why yeah. Ritsuka replied. How though? I mean, we know the throne of heroes can extend to any time period in any universe, but this is crazy. And plus, how come her hair color is different from your senpai? Did she dye it? That's what I thought at first, but apparently that's not the case. Not only that, but she also has the same name as me. Hey! What's going on here? A new voice yelled. Ritsuka, his supposed female counterpart, and Mashu looked at the source of the voice, which was Olga Marie. Upon seeing her, Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart looked at them in shock. Director? She asked. Who are you? And how do you know who I am? And that outfit of yours, you're from Chaldea? Olga Marie asked. For a moment, nothing happened between everyone as Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart just looked at her in shock. Then, in an instant, she ran up towards her and gave her a giant hug. Director! You're here as well. This is truly a good day. Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart yelled with happiness as tears were falling off from her face. What? Who are you? And get off me this instant. Olga Marie yelled, showing that she was not used to this. Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart then quickly released her, allowing her to breathe. All right, now that I've got some air to breathe, let's get this straight. Who are you? She asked. Me? Well, I'm Fujiwara Ritsuka, Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart replied. At that moment, Olga Marie's mouth dropped. Wahahatat? Why yeah. Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart said as she covered her ears. Man, I miss hearing that voice. Why you're Fujiwara Ritsuka? Olga Marie asked in disbelief. Yeah. From another timeline that is, Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart replied. For a moment, Olga Marie was silent as she was processing the information she just received. After a few minutes, she then grabbed Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart's hand and started to drag her off. Director? What are you doing? Ritsuka asked. I'm borrowing her for a moment. I need some answers, Olga Marie replied. Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart let out a small sigh at the room she was in, which looked like an interrogation room. Wow. It's my first day as a servant in Chaldea from an alternate world, and I'm already brought here. Man, this is not how I expected things to happen here. Soon, the door to the room opened, revealing Olga Marie. She then sat down on the remaining chair. So, you're the new servant Ritsuka summoned today? She asked. Yes. That's right, Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart replied. Okay, according to what Ritsuka said earlier, your name is Fujiwara Ritsuka as well? Yes. Well, this is complicated. Do you have another name to go by so that way we won't get confused with the other Ritsuka? Ritsuka's supposed female counterpart gave Olga Marie's question some thought. After a few seconds, she came to an answer. Well, call me Gadako in this case. That's a nickname I went by in my timeline. I see. Well then Gadako, let me ask you this. Who are you actually? Well, before I became a servant, I was a master of Chaldea from another universe. Speaking of which, what happened to Chaldea in this timeline? It looks different from what I remember. Olga Marie was confused for a moment. Different from what she remembered, she thought as she was writing down Gadako's words. Anyways, here's a list of what happened in Chaldea up until now. You can read it if you want, Olga Marie said as she handed her a tablet. As she did, Gadako then looked at the tablet and checked at the events that were included in the tablet. Looks like this universe's Chaldea is like mine, although there are a few differences. She thought as she read over the many events. However, she stopped when she came across a certain event. Which was the day Emiya Shirou summoned in Chaldea. What the heck? Who is this person, and why does he look like Gramps from both Shimusa and the Sixth Lost Belt? Furthermore, he even has his noble phantasm along with a second one that's the same as the Red Archer, she thought as she continued to look at the tablet. As she did, she saw the arrival of Musashi, Hakuno, Castor Arturia, Proto Merlin, Sieg, Karen, and both Romani and Olga Marie. What the heck is going on in this universe's Chaldea? Castor Arturia, Scathach Scotty, and many others from the Lost Belts are here already. And the doctor is here as well? What the heck is going on here? Are you alright over there? Olga Marie asked, snapping Gadako out of her thoughts. Yeah. I'm just surprised at how different this universe's Chaldea is different from the one I used to be in. Gadako replied as she handed her the tablet back to Olga Marie. I see. So, you used to be the master of your universe's Chaldea? Olga Marie asked. Yeah. You don't sound surprised, Director. Olga Marie let out a sigh. Well, the throne of heroes extend to any time and place, so I figured something like this would happen someday. Speaking of which, how different is it from your universe's Chaldea? Gadako was silent for a moment before continuing the conversation. Well, to summarize it, it seems that Chaldea hasn't been attacked yet in this timeline. Olga Marie was surprised at that moment. What? It's a long story. You see, on December 31st, 2017, Chaldea was attacked by Rasputin, who went by the name Kotomine Kyriai, Koyanskaya, and Anastasia. During the attack, nearly all of the staff were killed, and all of humanity was bleached, Gadako stated with a sigh in the end. Olga Marie was shocked upon hearing Gadako's words. You're kidding me. I wish. Furthermore, in order to restore humanity, we had to travel through something called Lost Belts, which were timelines that the history of losers born from the wrong choices and mistaken prosperity is cut off. They created by fantasy trees in case if you were wondering. Olga Marie quickly wrote down Gadako's words for future reference, showing that she was interested in her words. I see. Go on. Anyways, these Lost Belts were managed by the former A-Team, who were revived by an unknown force. Olga Marie nearly dropped her pen. What? The A-Team members were revived? Yeah. And furthermore, we found out that an alien god, also known as the Seven of the End, was responsible for the A-Team's revival, the attack on Chaldea, the bleaching of humanity, and the Lost Belts themselves. The reason why she started all of this was to ensure that she would descend to here. And do you want to know what the worst part was? What? Gadako let out a sigh. The alien god used her body. Olga Marie was stunned. What? Yes. Somehow, the alien god used her body before moving on to a new one. Upon hearing Gadako's words, Olga Marie couldn't help but feel shock and anger over the fact that her body was used to house an alien god. An alien god used my body to destroy humanity? That is the biggest insult. How dare that alien god use my body to destroy humanity? That's my body, and I decide how to use it. Because that is me. Olga Marie then calmed down from the rage that was building up inside of her. Okay. So, what happened next? Well, with the remaining help we had, we managed to beat all of the lost belts, and that was it. However, during the final fight against the alien god, Mashu, well, what happened? Spit it out. Mashu died. At that moment, Olga Marie dropped her pen and clipboard. What? Yeah. In my timeline, Mashu died. The room was completely silent for a moment before Olga Marie continued the conversation. How? Gadako took a deep breath before continuing the conversation. During the final battle against the alien god, she sacrificed her life to save me from a life-taking blast from her. I see. And what happened next? Well, in my rage, I grabbed Mashu's shield and began to beat her with it. And when that wasn't enough, I proceeded to beat her with my own bare hands. Gadako muttered. Silence occurred in the room once again. Nobody didn't say anything for a few minutes until Olga Marie continued the conversation. I see. Well, at least you avenged her, she said. Yeah, by the way, can I ask you something? Sure. What is it? Gadako then pointed to the date that showed Shirou's arrival. This servant, Emiya Shirou, why does he look like Gramps? And how did he possess his noble phantasm along with the addition of another? Olga Marie was confused for a moment. Gramps? Sango Muramasa. Ah. From what I heard from Da Vinci and the others, he's supposed to be Shirou's ancestor, and they actually look a lot like each other surprisingly. Furthermore, he's the pseudo servant vessel to him as well. I see. Now after seeing the tablet, I'm even more confused with this timeline. What do you mean by that? Well, first of all, in my timeline, I didn't have a servant that went by the name of Emiya Shirou. And second, one of servants that was mentioned in the tablet is a servant from the 6th lost belt in my timeline. Olga Marie was surprised. Really? Which one? Her, she replied as she pointed at Castor Arturia's profile. Olga Marie then looked at the tablet, which showed a picture of Castor Arturia. This alternate counterpart of the King of Knights? She's a servant from the 6th lost belt in your timeline? Yeah. And believe it or not, Gramps was there as well. Really? Olga Marie asked, even more surprised than before. Yeah. Originally, he was on the alien god's side, but he switched at the last moment, saying, my job serving her is over, or something like that. I see. Olga Marie said as she placed her pen and clipboard down. Wow. To think this would happen to Chaldea in your timeline. Yeah. Believe it or not, I was happy seeing Mashu again earlier. However, I know that's not the same Mashu from my timeline, so I already accepted that she doesn't know me. But, it still hurts. Not to mention the fact that I'm going to see some familiar servants from my timeline. Olga Marie let out a sigh. I know. But you'll have to get used to it. I know, Director. I know, Gadako said with a small smile. Olga Marie let out a small smile. Anyways, welcome to Chaldea, Gadako. And thank you for the information that you provided me. This will be a great asset for Chaldea in the future, and we'll make sure to avert the events you said earlier. Yeah. It's a pleasure to work with you, Director. Likewise. At that moment, the door to the interrogation room was opened, revealing both Romani and Da Vinci at the entrance. Hey Director, I've heard that we have a new servant. Is this true? Da Vinci asked. Yes. And believe it or not, but she's Olga Marie said, but was cut off. Because in an instant, Gadako immediately jumped out of her seat and headed towards both Romani and Da Vinci, giving both a hug. Dr. Da Vinci. I missed you, she exclaimed in happiness. Both Romani and Da Vinci were surprised at the hug. Director. Who is this woman? He asked. Olga Marie let out a sigh as she finished the sentence she was about to say. That's Fujiwara Ritsuka, from another timeline. However, call her Gadako in this case so we won't get the other Fujiwara Ritsuka mixed up. Both Romani and Da Vinci yelled in shock. Shirou was walking down the hallway, minding his own business. As he did, he came across Gadako, who was walking with a smile on her face. I haven't seen her before. That outfit looks like a new member of Chaldea arrived today. But this is weird, she feels familiar, but how? As Shirou and Gadako continued to walk towards each other, Gadako accidentally bumped into Shirou. Oh, sorry, Gadako apologized. No problem, Shirou replied. As both said their apologies, Gadako looked into Shirou's eyes for a moment. She then continued to stare into Shirou's eyes, making him uncomfortable for a moment. What? You look like him, but a bit younger. Sorry to ask, but who are you? Oh, I'm Fujiwara Ritsuka, but call me Gadako in this case. At this moment, Shirou was dumbfounded. What the heck?